Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Brothers from the hopeful elect back at you again. Hope you guys are having a successful start to your weekend. I know everybody had a longer weekend than usual, man. You know, it's kind of prompted me to do this lesson today. First and foremost, we want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of his only begotten Son, who is an instrument of salvation for the nation, who some ignorantly call Jesus Christ. We refer to as Yahweh Shai, um, Hamashiach, right? And we believe that he's coming back for his people, those that need the gospel, right? Those that need rest. That's what we're going to be talking about today, needing rest. And I know we've talked about it before, not to beat a dead horse, but I thought this would be a good week to highlight it just one more time. You know what I'm saying? It's highlighted one more time. I do believe that what we're going to be talking about today is one of the commandments that the Most High holds near and dear to His heart. Uh, you know,
Come on, you ready? Come on.
I would kind of say it's up there. You know what I'm saying, as one of the top ones. You know, I would at least say top five. You know what I'm saying, top five commandments. Debatable, but nonetheless, man, today's lesson is going to be titled, "Do Israelites celebrate Labor Day?" Right? We do believe we are the Israelites. So if you were wondering this question, you came to the right page, the right channel. And so if you're watching this right now, you might be watching this for a couple reasons, right? You might be an Israelite that just newly came into the truth, and you're like, man, are we allowed to celebrate Labor Day? I know we can't celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving, but can we celebrate Labor Day? Right? Or you might be a friend or a family member of an Israelite, and you might be like, man, these Israelites, man, they're kind of crazy. They don't celebrate nothing. I wonder if they don't celebrate Labor Day either, right? That might be you. Um, you might be watching this video to scoff, like, oh, here we go again. The Israelite, another holiday that the Israelites don't celebrate, right? Whether that's you and or you know what I'm saying, if you can get in where you fit in any of those description, man, this video is for you, right? I got a couple things I'm gonna share. I got something real quick to read off of the World Wide Web of Google. I got a YouTube clip, and then we got some precepts, right? I want to preface this by saying that um, Israelites do not celebrate any pagan holidays. Now, I guess it's up for debate whether or not Labor Day is a pagan holiday. If you wanted to celebrate it as an Israelite, I guess you could. I guess you could. Why would you? Is that I guess that's up to you, right? But we're gonna get kind of into the history of it, and we're gonna see why it's redundant to an Israelite to celebrate Labor Day. Why is not it? Why it lacks importance to an Israelite to celebrate Labor Day, right? Um, but that's enough of me yapping. Let me share my screen real quick, and we won't be on here long, guys. I told the guys, man, I wanted to be around 25 minutes, but I give or take 35 minutes, we'll be out of here. Right. So y'all just bear with me. I'm gonna share my screen and have one of the brothers read this when it comes up. Let me see. There we go. Right. If somebody can read that for me, I typed in is Labor Day a day of rest. And if you don't know, Labor Day was this Monday, yesterday, right? Labor Day was Monday, right? I'm thinking it was like 2 days ago, but Labor Day was Monday, right? So the question that I posed to Google was, is Labor Day a day of rest? If one of the brothers can read that description for me.
From Google, is Labor Day a day of rest? Google says, yes, Labor Day is a national day of rest, a public holiday observed on the first Monday of September to honor the contribution of workers to the strength and prosperity of the country. For most people, it is a day off from work, providing an opportunity to relax, spend time with family, and mark the unofficial end of summer.
Right, man. One thing it said was it's a day to relax, right? And spend time with your family. Don't that sound familiar for an Israelite, right? Relax and to spend time with your family. It is a national day of rest from your labor, right? One thing I want to point out is America is so funny, right? And that's why one thing I'll say too is, as an Israelite, why would you want to celebrate Labor Day knowing that you're pretty much celebrating the crumbs that America gives you? Why do I say crumbs? Is because um, we do all this fighting to get recognized by our country, to give us rest, to give us relaxation, to give us more family time, and they give us one day out of 365. That is a crumb, my brother and my sister, right? That is a crumb. Why settle for a crumb? Why acknowledge this day that they've given us, right? I can see if they maybe gave you a month off, right? I might be grilling. You know what I'm saying? They gave you a month off, right? But a day, nah, no
Brother,
sir.
brother might have some country pride.
Hey, a
You see
month
the
and with pay.
you see the American flag going up in the backyard with the grill smoking with
That's
the country music
madness.
playing.
That's madness.
brother gonna
America
be
gave us a month off.
That's madness.
brother's gonna be playing Israelite truth music on the holiday break.
I'm trying to tell you,
That's
man.
madness, man.
If they gave us a month off, this might be the best. Trump might have made America great again. You feel
But
me?
one day though, bro, that ain't gonna, one day is crazy though.
One day out of 365 to show your the country's appreciation for your hard your hard labor, right? They say one day is what you're worth, right? Here's a video. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear it, right? And then we'll get into some precepts after this.
Yesterday was Labor Day, and do you ever think
Fair use, right? Fair use. And please excuse Buddy's voice. I know he kind of sound kind of crazy, right? He's kind of high pitched, right? But fair use.
to yourself Labor Day is about barbecues and a 3-day weekend? Well, here's the wild truth. It was born out of blood. Back
It said, I want y'all to keep that in mind. And of course, you know, we stopping this periodically so we don't get flagged, right? But he said that Labor Day was born out of blood. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny that almost every holiday in America, every holiday was born out of blood, right? Let's get into it.
in 1894, workers at the Pullman Company went on strike. Railroads froze, mail stopped moving, and the entire country was basically paralyzed. President Grover Cleveland.
You hear what he said? Now, a lot of times we talk about how strong the Mexicans move together. You know what I'm saying? If they working at a factory, one of them get unjustly fired, they all quitting and walking out at the same time. This was a time back in the 1800s where Americans did the same thing. He said that the railroads stopped moving, mills stopped turning, factories shut down, and America was at a standstill. Right? They went on strike. Go ahead, brother.
And it's so crazy out because this just shows you who this world serve. So when the Most High give you a Sabbath day to rest on, you don't want to take it. But when Esau make a day called Labor Day that's not in the Bible, you grilling and having a good time and you resting.
Right,
It just
man.
show you, man. It's crazy.
Right, man. We stay and wait for a nation that can't save us. They can't even save us from a hard days of work. Right. Let's get back into it though. Right. I just want y'all to focus on what he just said though. It was started off on blood. Not only did it start off on blood, they went on it started with a protest where everybody in America got on one accord and everybody said, hey, screw that. We're not going to work today. You know what's so funny, man? We used to work. Me and Azrael used to be welders at this shop, right, in Macon, Georgia, and all the workers. It was at a time where it was shifting. There was new management coming aboard. I think we had just got bought out by a different company. Wages were dropping. They were gonna make us test again to see if we deserve more pay or less pay. and everybody was kind of fed up, and so everybody was, saying like, then we're thinking about going on strike, right? America, excuse my French when I say this, America got us so far, has us by the gonads so much that when we went around and we started, waging this idea of don't nobody show up next week, some people was on board, and some people said, I got a family to feed, right? These folks in the 1800s had family to feed, and they still were able to come together and shut down America on this day, right? Keep playing it though. Let's go.
Panicked, so he sent federal troops to break the strike. Violence erupted, dozens of workers were killed, and the nation was outraged. To calm things down and to win back workers' loyalty,
This was a girl.
That's why I said excuse his voice. But what I say is another thing. So keep that in mind. He said first thing it was in blood, right? What happened next? He said it was a national shutdown. Everybody stopped working. They sent the troops to fight against the civilians, right? To tell them to get back to work, and ended up killing a lot of them. People put their life on the line for this, right? Come on, dude.
So it ain't. So it is it pagan? Like it ain't pagan.
That's why I said that's why I made the disclaimer. I said if you're an Israelite and you want to celebrate Labor Day, I guess you could if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. But what is the point? It's kind of redundant for an Israelite because we have a day of rest every week, which we're about to get into. And also, why would you want to accept a crumb one day out of 365? Right? I'm gonna finish this video real quick. Gonna play. Goodness. Good night.
And the day in as a federal holiday, not as a gift, but as a peace offering. So today's cookouts and parades and don't wear whites on Labor Day rules, they all trace back to a national crisis where people literally died fighting for better working conditions. Labor Day isn't just a day off, it's a reminder of a strike so powerful it reshaped American history forever. Yesterday was Labor Day, and do you ever think to yourself,
right? One thing he said at the end there was it was a peace offering. That Labor Day, although it's a holiday now, it was a peace offering, right? Because the civilians was fighting so hard against American troops that the president at the time, I think President Grover, I forgot his last name, President Grover, he issued a peace offering, and that was to give them a day off of the year, right? It also came with other things too, like one thing that it did do was made it illegal for anybody under 14 to be in the workforce, right? Ultimately, though, that's where Labor Day came from, as a peace offering. It says, and we kind of took it. You know what I'm saying? As civilians, we said, hey, look, man, he said, I'll give y'all this day off, first Monday in September off forever, and we said, yeah, we one day out of 365, right? People died in the 1800s fighting for one day off out of 365. How foolish, right? How foolish. And one thing I will say, if you do your research, most of those people that were fighting were of those of African American descent and Latinos, right? If you do your research, it was most of them, or so-called Israelites. Go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of people think that time has left us, but the only thing that's changed is there's been more job opportunities to make the job field more diverse. But those same jobs that were big back in the day are still operating the same way. Meaning factory jobs were sought after, blue collar jobs were sought after, trades were sought after back then, right? Um, all of this, right, is still going on in those same fields. There's some jobs out there that, they'll say Monday through Friday. And then when you get the job, they say, uh, yeah, sometimes if we get behind, we got mandatory overtime. They don't tell you that the mandatory overtime is Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, but it's only a half day on Saturday. It's only a half day on Sunday. Next thing you know, you working 7 days a week. When I was in painting, when I used to be in the union for painting, and when I was welding, I know other jobs. Like I had not coworkers, but people that are in the trades. I've talked to them. They was like, "Man, you guys got a good over where y'all at?" Because I was keeping the Sabbath. Y'all got a good y'all got a good over where y'all at. The money good over here, but they working like a dog, man. We work 7 days a week. I'm like, how could anybody just work 7 days a week? Like, and they was doing it faithfully. And I'm like, so you don't get no rest, bro? Like, y'all just work every day. Like, there's no day to where y'all could just be like recuperate for the next work week. I said, man, you lose track of days that way. But there's people out here that love that money so much that they working 7 days a week still.
Sure.
In 2025.
It's a fact.
7 days a week, man. No break.
They're afraid to take PTO.
Right, man. At the end of the year, man, and that's the crazy thing about America. Most jobs, you accrue PTO and it don't even roll over to the next year. It just disappears. You got to start all over again, right?
And
But
you can't even take it when you want to. You got to get it approved.
not only that, like the brother said, man, you feel in America, you feel pressure not to take the PTO, even though it's pretty much free money. You feel not you feel pressure not to take it, just for it to disappear at the end of the year if you don't take it, right? Oh, best believe me, I think I got about 180 hours of PTO. I'm gonna be using it before the end of the year. You can bet your bottom dollar that.
Got
You know
to.
what I'm saying? You got to. You know what I'm saying? You got to take advantage, man. Don't let anybody make you feel bad for getting your rest in, getting your family time in, right? Um,
And
apparently
that goes for
it's really
Salaki Queen.
Go ahead.
They go back to that video I had did one Sabbath about rest. I think it was on rest and the
Con.
importance of rest. And America don't want you to have that rest. They just want you to work like a dog and give you 1 day off. So it's good to have that rest, man. Which the Most High gave us the Sabbath day, right? And the rest of the Sabbath that He gave us is rest. But you got to take it.
He did a video. I think it was entitled. I think it was entitled "Sabbath Class: The Art of Rest."
Mm-hmm.
And you played that one lady that talked about rest in the Black community.
Yep.
Con, man. And like I said, man, it's a topic that we've been on heavily recently. But it's a good topic. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I think this is one of the Most High's top 5 commandments that He holds near and dear to His heart. So I don't think we can ever talk about it enough. And what better way?
Too, not to interrupt you, but it's so crazy that it fell on a Monday.
It always falls on Mondays.
Yeah. God gives us the 7th day, which is Saturday. He gives us that day, right? I mean, a day later, 2 days is another rest day. I know I literally was on the phone with somebody that was pulling 10-hour shifts and everything up until Labor Day, bro. And he was talking about, yeah, I gotta get it in before Labor Day. So it's like, bro, the Most High God give us a day every week, repetitive, bro.
Right.
You ain't gotta wait for your country to, you know what I'm saying? And you ain't gotta worship money to the point to where you feel like you can't. Like, the only reason why you don't show up to work is because nobody gonna be there because it's a holiday.
Hey, yo, look, I got to work. I got this house. This house so bad they have conditioned us to want to work. You got some people that are upset that it's a holiday on Monday. They want to come into work. I know for a fact because I got a worker, man, that wanted to come in, and I was like, man, we ain't gotta come in. It's a federal holiday. He said, yeah, I just, if I can come make some overtime on that day, I wouldn't mind. Brother still don't want to take his rest. If he don't want to take Labor Day as a rest, bro, you know for a fact that Negro don't want to take off every Saturday.
No way.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, but that's the mindset that we've been conditioned to have in America, that American dream, that work don't stop, no days off, right? I got to get it, right? Go ahead.
Man, my rib, her grandma 78 years old, and she worked from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and she only get like 2 days off. I'm like,
That's
bro, that's
crazy.
slavery, bro.
That's
That is
crazy.
slavery.
They're gonna work. You're gonna work you, man. By the time you ready to take your rest, man, it's almost time to get up. You're gonna be resting in peace.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's
forever.
crazy. It's crazy, man.
And
This is
you
our first precept of the day, man. This is First Maccabees chapter 2. We're gonna start at verse. Um, we're gonna start at verse. Let me see. Who do I want to start at? Uh, it's crazy, bro. I just had it where I wanted to start at. I'm tripping. I'm sorry. We're gonna start. We'll start at verse 29. Sorry.
I get it, King. Verse 29. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there,
Right.
both
Keep
they
going.
and their children and their wives and their cattle, because afflictions increased sore upon them.
One thing I want to say is that, hey, look, man, we just heard about the 1800s, about how they went on strike and everything, because they needed better work conditions. They needed a day off, right? Um, how many of y'all know that the Israelites were some of the first people to fight for this cause, to have a day off, right? And not only was it for our rest, but it was because we wanted to keep the laws of God, right? How do you know? How many of you know that the Israelites were the ones that carried on the first strikes, right? This is one in Maccabees, but you can find similar stories like this throughout the whole Bible, right? Keep reading for me, verse 31.
Verse 31. Now when it was told the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were going down into the secret places in the wilderness,
Right?
they pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day.
Right, man. So, we did the same thing. We went on strike, right? Except for it was our Sabbath day. We went on strike with a purpose. We picked a day on purpose. It was the Lord's Sabbath day, and they still waged war against us. The king sent his men against us to fight, to tell us to get back to work, just like they did in the video that the man was saying in the 1800s. You see what I'm saying? Hey, we were really the pioneers. I wouldn't doubt if somebody that started that strike knew this story, right? Might have been like a Catholic. The Catholics, they got, all these books, and they got Maccabees in their book and all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Right. But I just want y'all to know the Israelites, hey, it ain't nothing new to us. Right. Verse 33.
Verse 33. And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hitherto,
Yeah.
hitherto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live.
Back then, hey, the king, the president was saying, hey, look, y'all get to work today. Y'all get back to work and you'll live. If not, get ready to die. Verse number 34.
Verse 34. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day.
Right. Keep reading.
So then they gave them the battle with all speed.
Right.
Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they lay hid.
Right. We went on strike. We didn't even fight back because it was our Sabbath day. Keep reading.
But said, let us die all in our innocence. See, heaven and earth will testify for us that you put us to death wrongfully.
Right.
So
Go
they
ahead.
rose. We get that.
Yeah.
So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle to the number of 1,000 people.
Right, man. Just showing this to you guys to let y'all know that in the 1800s wasn't the first time somebody died for their rest. Right. That we've been doing this. Right. Go ahead, brother.
And it's so crazy. I don't even know what I don't even like. I must have read over this so many times, like in verse 38 when it said to the number of 1,000 people. And I truly, well, I think it's not when you read it. I'm truly thinking like it wasn't just a little bit amount of people just saying, we're gonna keep the Sabbath. It said the number of 1,000 people. So you had, not 5 people, not 10, not even 100 people. You had 1,000 people was willing to die with their wives, children, and cattle. They was willing to die, to keep the Sabbath day holy, man. So it wasn't just a few people that had that mindset of we not finna work on the Shabbat. It was thousands of people.
And I think that Edomite in the video, I think he said only dozens of people died when they fought their cause in the 1800s, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? This just let you know, man, we the pioneers of this right here. You know what I'm saying? This was what we was built to do, what we was put on this earth to do, fight for the laws of God. And so I want to say this too. I encourage us as the Israelites to get on one accord and be able to fight against the government, like the brothers in the Maccabees, like the folks in the 1800s. We've seen it done before, not only in the ancient world right here, but even close in the 1800s where they got something done. Now they only won one day off, you know what I'm saying? But think about if we all came together and we as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we said, hey, look, we're not working on the Sabbath anymore, right? Hey, look, people might die. He might send his troops to us. Trump might send his troops on us, right? He might sick some dogs on us, tell us to get back to work. But at the end of the day, they gotta respect what we're doing. They gotta respect our God and his commandment, right? At the end of the day. And it ain't far-fetched or anything like that. We run to people downtown all the time. They were like, man, it's a tall task. Y'all really think this can happen? We've seen it done. It even happened in the 1800s. So I know it can be done. Right? Deuteronomy. And honestly, man, it's not far-fetched to think that we can probably figure it out, keep the Sabbath before Christ come back. It's really not that hard to fathom, to be honest. Right? He also said if we repent, you know what I'm saying, that he'll hear us and turn his face back to us again, right? That might involve us keeping the Sabbath. You never know, right? I know a lot of brothers say, hey, look, we won't be keeping the right Sabbath till you return, but you never know the way things might go. We might all come on one accord one day. Let's go to Exodus real quick, man. Now it's time to educate. Right, we know what Labor Day is all about, and if you're watching this video and you're saying why you keep saying Labor Day is redundant, it's because that instead of one day out of the year, the Lord has commanded us to keep one day out the week, every week. You know what I'm saying? Somebody do the quick math. How many weeks is in a year? I think 52. So that's 52 Sabbaths. 52 Labor Days is what we celebrate. 52 of them
That's
guys.
right.
52 of them guys versus your all's one, right? And you got the power to keep these as an Israelite man or a woman, but you got to be bold enough to tell your employer that you're not coming in on Saturday, right? Or whenever you keep it.
If the Jewish person can do it, if the Seventh-day Adventist person can do it, it should be a piece of cake for you, man.
That's a fact.
The Muslims, they say, our prayer, right? I know the Muslims do our prayer in jail. They let them do their hour prayer. They let them go outside and get their mats and pray in prison. So they respect Islam. So,
right, you got to make them respect you. That's what we seen. That's what we just read. We made people respect us. If you keep reading that story, they all got together. They put the king and his army to flight for doing that to him. Right. We see in the 1800s, they made them respect them, right? You got the power to do that too, but you have to have that spirit within you, that manful spirit in you, right? To gird your loins up manfully, right? And stand for something and not fall for everything, right? This is Exodus chapter 20 and verse 8. Brother Azrael, if you could read this for me.
Exodus 20 and verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
All right, keep reading.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But in the seventh day is the day of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
Right, the Most High, he gave us a 1 day out the week to labor. You know, the funny thing is, in this society, you have to fight for a day off. But the Most High, off rip from the beginning, gave you a day off every week, right?
Yeah, it's
But
crazy.
you want to serve your master, and you don't want to serve the Most High. Somebody that's this considerate of his people is crazy to me. Go ahead.
What's crazy is this country or this system of Babylon has told us that this is the weekend, but they don't want, even though they told us it was the weekend, they don't want the week to end.
Right.
You would think that, hey, Saturday comes, somebody say they can't work. You would think that in this system, they'd be, oh, okay, it is the weekend. Yeah. No pressure. But no, it's the opposite. They're like, nah, you gotta come in. Nah, I need you to come in. No, we gotta make this bread. It's not gonna operate well without you.
Right. I just want to encourage y'all, man, that it's possible, right? Y'all looking at brothers on the screen right now that don't work on the Sabbath, right? Y'all looking at some brothers on the screen that turned down jobs because the Sabbath day was a non-negotiable, right? You looking at brothers that got let go because they couldn't work the Sabbath day. Brothers could have sued at the end of the day, but we stand for something on the screen here, right? And we want y'all to too, right?
And the brother was talking about this might be top 5 commandment, bro. It's literally the 4th commandment. It's literally the 4th commandment, right?
Right.
When Moses went up and came down, it's the 4th thing he said.
And this is one thing we got to realize is people take this commandment lightly because they feel like it's supposed to be for us, so it should be optional. It should be optional. You know what I'm saying? If I don't want to rest, it shouldn't be that bad. Here's the thing, man. You can't have that mindset because people have lost their life on the account of the Sabbath day and profaning it, right? So you're telling me that those people, they lost their life and was killed in vain so you could do what you want? I just can't accept that, right? What are some things that we can and can't do on the Sabbath, right? We're gonna teach today. Let's get Nehemiah 10 and verse 31. We're gonna teach as if we was on the street today, right?
This
Nehemiah.
is the book. Ready?
Yep.
This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 10 and verse 31. And if the people of the land bring ware or any victuals on the Sabbath day to sell, that will not buy it of them on the Sabbath.
If anybody were to come up to you on a Sabbath day, right, and want to sell it to you, you know, you're not supposed to buy it, right? And so, you know, the funny thing about this is, you know, Israelites today, man, we're so funny, man. We try to, you know, we think we smarter than what we are. We try to find loopholes and stuff. So we'll be like, well, he doesn't celebrate the Sabbath day, so I guess he can buy it for me. And then, you know, I'm really thirsty right now, so I can't buy it, but you can buy it for me. You know what I'm saying? That's not how it works, right? You profaning it that way. You can't outsmart the Most High. Some people be like, well, he keeps the Sabbath, but he's a lunar Sabbath. So today's not his Sabbath, but it's mine. So he can go in the store, buy us some wings while we out here, right? And I won't be profaning the Sabbath. No, brother, right? You can't provoke somebody to break your Sabbath if you genuinely feel like you keeping the right Sabbath, right? You encouraging anybody to break it is a sin in itself, right? But this just shows that other people on our Sabbath day don't keep the Sabbath day because they're coming to us trying to sell us things because they have no wherewithal what's going on. But it's up to you to have some integrity to not buy from them and not sell to them.
Brothers and sisters think that they can outsmart God. Oh, okay, so he say this, so technically I'm not off if I do this. And that's
Right.
not just a Sabbath day. Brothers and sisters use the whole law that way to see how they can get around it and still smile in the Lord's face, like I'm keeping your commandments. Bro, you can't outsmart the most high God. But he said it's clean and cut. Like
Right.
it's clean and cut. If he said to rest on the seventh day and to not buy or sell, bro, it's clean and cut. You can't say,
Right,
well,
man. So that
technically I didn't do it. If you got to say technically, that means you did it.
right.
Yeah.
And so that's number one. We can't buy and sell on the Sabbath day. You know, a lot of people, just another example, man. We come into this truth and you know, people start having pity on us on the Sabbath day, right? We've all had friends and family. Dang, bro, I don't want you to starve though. Bro, I'll just buy it for you, bro. That's okay. I can buy it for you. You can eat it, bro. I don't want you to be out here hungry, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
First
want
of all,
I don't
bro,
want you to miss the men's trip. I'll just pay for
right,
your ticket, bro. Y'all could just
right,
chill in the B&B or come to the restaurant. We'll pay for everything, bro.
right. First of all, I want to say this, man, right? As an Israelite, you need to be prudent. I'll say that. As an Israelite, you need to be prudent. So no one should ever put you in a position to where you're going to be hungry in the first place. Why? I'm
Right.
about to read it, right? Let's go to Exodus chapter 16. We're going to start at verse 22.
Exodus 16 and verse 22. And it came to pass that on the sixth day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses.
So before the Sabbath rolled in, they gathered twice as much because they knew they couldn't buy, they couldn't gather, they couldn't do nothing on the day after. So that's why I said like you should never be put in that position as an Israelite because you know better to be prepared for the next day, right? True story, right? We talking about having a little get together, men's get together with some of the guys we went to high school with, right? And you know, we was telling them like, hey, it's cool, but on the Sabbath day, we might have to stay inside. We might not can't go nowhere. They were like, well, no, bro, y'all can still come out pay for you. I said, bro, I can't let y'all do that. Right. And he said, well, what y'all gonna eat? I said, man, I don't know. I'll make a sandwich or something. Right. No, but everybody started busting out laughing. LMAO, you know what I'm saying? Not a sandwich. Yes, bro, I'm serious. A sandwich. And it
Salad.
was and it will sustain me, right?
Right.
For the day. You know what I'm saying? But as
Like,
an Israelite,
people be acting like they ain't never had no sandwiches on the weekend. That's crazy.
Right.
right. And so my thing is, you know, as an Israelite, you should never be put in that position where somebody feels that sorry for you. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you should feel sorry for them that they're breaking the Lord's commandment. You know what I'm saying? But I find it funny that they try to find pity on us as we try to keep the Lord's commandment for the benefit of us, right? Verse
They,
23. Go
they
ahead.
think you using that as in this. They thinking when you saying that you're gonna stay on the weekend and eat a sandwich, they thinking you broke, but you just don't want to say you broke. So that's why they
Right.
say I'll pay for you.
Right. Nah, brother, you can look at my bank account. I got money. I'm just not spending today. I'm trying to tell y'all, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They think you're trying to get out like, you know, as you get older, man, you don't want to go nowhere. You really just giving an excuse because you don't want to go. Nah, that's not it, brother. That's not it. But you know, so be it. Verse 23.
Verse 23, and he said unto them, this is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath. Salakia. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which bake that which ye will bake today, and see that ye will see, and that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning.
Right, man. And so is the Most High giving us some wisdom of being prudent and to prepare what we need to prepare the day before. That way we're not struggling and straining and stressing ourselves out the next day, and we're not starving on the Sabbath day, right? So the first one we went over is buying, selling, no buying and selling, no doing business, right? This right here is no cooking, right? And you know, I know brothers and sisters, you know, got their own methods of what that means and whatnot. Some brothers, you know what I'm saying, do other things to stay away from certain things, right? It's up to how your discernment is. But at the end of the day, if you gotta, it's no cooking, right? So at its base level, man, it's simple. If you got some raw food, some raw meat or something like that, and you gotta, you know what I'm saying, bring that thing to life, you gotta drain, you gotta marinate something, You gotta season something. You gotta drain the blood out of something. That hey, you should have did that the day before, right? At the least, right? That's what we talking about. No cooking, no nothing, no cooking, right? And so no cooking, no buying, no selling. Let's get one more Isaiah. We're gonna go to Isaiah 58, right?
I want to say too, since you said that the part of nobody should be feeling sorry for us. When you go to Daniel chapter 1, right? Daniel is telling the guard, he said, "Hey, look, hey, we're not gonna eat the king's meat." And the guard is saying, "Hey, if y'all don't eat the king's meat, then y'all gonna look crazy, hungry, and like y'all gonna look malnourished. The king gonna be on my head." He literally said, "The king gonna be on my head about y'all." Daniel said, "Hey, look, man, don't worry about us. Just give us the pulse. You know what I'm saying? Me and the three Hebrew boys, we're gonna be straight." Hey, I mean, after 10 days, you could check up on us. If we look worse than everybody else, hey, you got it. But if we look better, let it be how it is. Don't worry about the men of the Lord. And so 10 days he checked up on Daniel. They were looking better than the people that was eating the king's meat, right? Guess what? When you on that men's trip, so-called, right? On that Sunday, you probably gonna be more refreshed than them boys. Them boys probably gonna be tired out from the ladder. You ready to keep enjoying the trip, right?
Yep.
And it's all because the Lord knows what He's doing. In that situation with Daniel, he knew that that king's meat was not healthy, right? You're gonna be better off. You're gonna be glowing when you eat this fruit and vegetables, right? Instead of that pork, that swine. Same thing with the Sabbath day. The Lord knows that you're gonna be better for a rest day. He knows you're gonna be better for it. So don't fight against it, and don't let other people think that you down and out, because really you got the upper hand because you're getting the rest. Come
Come, man. Come. You are getting the rest, right? That's why I said, look, they got pity on you, but you really having pity on them
right.
at the end of the day, and they don't even know. This is Isaiah 58 and 13. If a brother could read this one for me.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 58 and verse 13. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thy own ways like it, nor finding thy own pleasure, nor speaking thy own words.
Right? And so we can get the next verse too, right? Go ahead.
Then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it.
Right, man. Right. A few things I want to point out here. The Lord, it's crazy. The Lord has to reassure us and remind us that we should be having delight in the Sabbath day, right? But he knew we was going to be in this conditioned mindset where we just don't want to stop working, right? It's funny how we have to convince ourselves to like a rest day, right? You know what I'm saying? For a minute there, me too. I had to convince myself, hey, slow down, take a rest day, reset. You know, because we get into this rat race and this cycle, the American dream, where we just kind of tire ourselves out. And so that's one thing, man. I found funny is that he has to remind us that the Sabbath day should be a delight. It's crazy, right? And it's honorable. He says to not even, you can't even do really your own pleasures, right? What makes you kind of happy, like brother, you with some examples, right? You like to work out, brother, intensely. You like to lift weights and whatnot. Hey, man, even science would tell you that you need a full 24 hours to recover, right? A lot of y'all working out 7 days a week. Let's put that down. You want to play basketball, right? Basketball is your god. You eat, breathe, and sleep basketball. Put it down for a day, at
Right.
least. Football, baseball, whatever. Put it down for a day. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you like to play chess. You know what I'm saying? That's what you do, right? When I see this, I'm thinking about stuff that we love to do that's either an idol or borderline an idol, right? That would be your own pleasure, right? Because it's not giving glory to God. You giving that thing glory, right? Some people can play chess on the Sabbath because they don't play chess like that. They don't really care about chess like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a one-time thing. It might be a Sabbath day thing for them. You know what I'm saying? But Another thing I want to point out is it says, "Nor speaking thy own words." In other translations, it says, "Nor speaking idly," right? And that's one thing I want to point out too, is that sometimes we can get carried away in speaking about folly sometimes, right? But we can't be caught up in idle conversation. You know what I'm saying? And it's easy to slip into idle conversation, but we always gotta at least, find some way to tie the Most High into our conversations, everything that we're talking about on the Sabbath day, right? And it's good to. And one thing people don't know is that we're commanded to fellowship during Sabbath days, right? And so it's easier when you're around people that can hold you accountable, to keep you accountable for these things, right? If the conversation seems to be turning left, somebody can, kind of turn that thing back right. You know what I'm saying? And I think we got a good balance of that here at the Hopeful Elect. And so, but it's just things to understand. So, right, a few things I'll say, right? That's the last precept I had. But a few things I'll reiterate. The Sabbath day, some key verses for anybody that's looking how the Israelites keep the Sabbath day. You can start at Exodus 20:8. That is kind of a benchmark precept where it was first issued. Nehemiah 10:31. That'll go into buying and selling. Exodus 16:22 through 23. That's gonna give you your details in cooking and preparing before the Sabbath day. And Isaiah 58:13, which we just read, goes into doing your own pleasures on that day, right? Staying away from things that you might idolize in your life, or things that might be close to being idols in your life, right? And giving that attention to the Most High on that day, right? Um, Other than that, man, do Israelites celebrate Labor Day? Me, I don't acknowledge it. Like I said, man, it's technically not a pagan holiday, so you might can participate in it if you wanted to, right? Me personally, I think it's pretty redundant because I had my Labor Day 2 days before, right? 2 days before, or a day and some change before. And it's important to know that Israelites, man, Labor Day is nothing new to us. This is something that we do on a weekly basis. So it's not nothing special. And instead of getting the crumbs from our country, we rather eat the whole loaf that our Heavenly Father has given us. Right. He says in Matthew 4:4, we should not live by bread alone, by every word that proceeded out of his mouth. And one thing that proceeded out of his mouth, like the brother said, the fourth commandment was to keep this Sabbath day holy. And so this is a little crash course on if the Israelites keep the Labor Day or not, right? So take this as you may. Hopefully, I educated you on the Israelites a little bit further when it comes to these holidays. And if you got an Israelite relative or friend, you know what I'm saying, give them something that you learned in this video. Make them happy. Encourage them to keeping their Sabbath day. That's all I got. Any of the brothers got anything else?
Con, man, I put some work in on this Labor Day. It's just because, like, I don't need this country to tell me when to take a rest, when God does. You feel me? Ultimately, everybody, like you said, they let everybody else tell them when they can rest. But for some reason, when God say to rest, they take it as advice. I don't know how many people we talk to on the street. We tell them, what's today? And they say, it's a Sabbath. I know, bro. I know. Today's a Sabbath day. But you think that they're ever gonna stop? I mean, we pray that they stop, but I guarantee you that they went on to the bar, they went on to a club, they went on to do some work on that day, even though they know it. It's because people don't take the Most High God serious, man. You know what I'm saying? People take their watch and their smartphones more serious than the Most High God. They smartphone tell them, you've been exercising, you've been on your feet all day. Take a rest. Guess what they're gonna do? Yeah, I have. My watch told me to take a rest, so I'm gonna take a rest. Right? So people, hey, it is what it is. You trust in man, the Most High God gonna show you what that's gonna bring. But for us and for me in my house, we serve the Lord. We're gonna keep the Sabbath day.
Con.
Anything, brother O?
Con, man, just get your rest in, man. Right, the Most High, He gave us days to rest. So Just get your rest in. Make sure you resting. But yeah.
Come, man. I want to give a big shout out to the brother Baruch, man. Mighty Scribe in the chat. Mighty Scribe in the chat. I definitely appreciate you, brother. So if you didn't get the precepts that I mentioned, they will be in the chat. Please look at that. But again, man, that's been another video. We made it to 50 minutes, man. I wanted to aim for 35. You know, we was heading there, but you know, the spirit, you know how the spirit go. You feel me? But we still getting out here a little bit earlier than normal. So all praise to the Most High. We give all the honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of His only begotten Son, who He sent as an instrument of salvation for the nation, right? And He also told us, if we're not helping to gather, you're by default helping to scatter, and that's what we're not trying to do, right? One thing that we got to do to help gather is to encourage people to keep the Sabbath day, and that's what we're gonna do. See you guys next time. We say shalom.
Shalom.